So we talked about it. We were excited for it. Yes, we were able to continue our Run Disney experiences over the weekend, getting out to the Walt Disney World Resort for the springtime surprise race weekend, in particular, the Hercules 10K. What a fun event it was. We can't wait to tell you all about it, right, Michelle?
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. They're getting, I think, a little easier to do. I think, at least for myself, I'm mentally more prepared for those early mornings and getting in some real enjoyment there.
I'll tell you, it was much easier for me to do this race than Princess, because
Yes.
when I was Princess, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do it because I'd
Right.
been sick before that and was still recovering. Yeah, it was a much better shape for this. Still not in the shape I'd like to be in for a 10K.
Same.
But much better than that. Comparatively,
Right.
it was great. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to recap pretty much the entire weekend, talking about some of the stuff we did. Also talk about going to Bay Lake Towers, which we got to experience one of the newly refurbished rooms. We'll talk about that as well, and a few other things that are going to come up. But mostly this is focusing on our Run Disney race experience.
Yeah, because there were some unique things about it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And not unique. It was great. Just spoiler alert. It was fantastic, as all Run Disney race events are. So let's go ahead and get to it. We started this on the Friday. I was able to get the day off work. We kind of headed out kind of late morning.
Wait, we started before that because we started putting our bounding outfits together
weeks before that. Weeks before that. Michelle, as I mentioned, does the best cosplay Run Disney race outfits. She put together some wonderful stuff for them. You'll see, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, you're going to see pictures of them later on. For those of you who are listening to the audio podcast, go check out our social media. I posted pictures of all of our outfits there, and you'll be able to find them there as well.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Pat joining us. I think he's been an inspiration for us. He does some amazing cosplay, etc., whether he's doing it for a Run Disney event or a Star Wars event. So he kind of really has raised the bar for us. And, you know, we're doing everything like as budget as can be and trying to add a little bit of touches here and there. So it's not just, we're not buying costumes and putting them on.
We're not just planning costumes. We are putting things together. We are spending a little money here, a little money there. But we're also trying to spend. Run Disney is expensive enough already. Yeah. We don't need to go crazy with the items we're putting. Plus, we're running.
Yeah.
So, you know, how elaborate can our costumes be?
Total, our costumes were less than $8. So.
Not bad.
No, for both of them combined.
Yeah, there were some things that are like items that will come into play for other running events that maybe cost a little. But as far as things that were specific for this race, yeah, it was about that
pretty
price.
cheap.
Yeah, pretty cheap. Yeah. So, okay, back to it. Yeah. That morning we got
a tangent there.
Yes, tangent involved with the same thing, but yes. We got up and headed out to the Walt Disney World Resort. We got there around, I want to say it was around 1:30. Got out to the ESPN Wide World of Sports area, which is always where they have the bib pickup to pick up your shirts, you pick up all your stuff for there. You can go to the merchandise. And it was pretty standard, as it usually is, especially when you're arriving on this day. Actually, I think it was a little easier going this day because a lot of times we were running the 10K. The 5K had already happened that morning. The 10K happens on Saturday. We were arriving on Friday. A lot of times, some people are arriving for the challenge to pick up their bids for the challenge. But because this is the springtime surprise race weekend, the challenge includes all three races, not just the 10K and the half. There's a 10-miler rather than a half marathon. So to get that same amount of mileage, you're running all three races. Right. So kind of those people that were part of the challenge that would normally be arriving on Friday had arrived on Thursday to pick up their stuff. So we were just there with people who were picking up only the 10-miler and picking up the 10K mostly, and some people that were there run some other races and wanted to go check out the expo and some of the merchandise and etc.
Right, exactly.
So went in, got our bibs, got our shirts. I had to trade my shirt because I was a dummy and under pressure when I was signing up, and I saw men's large. What I missed in the middle of it was youth. It was a men's youth large. So I had a tiny, tiny shirt for me. It was about Michelle's size, but a tiny, tiny shirt for me.
I think Run Disney was a trick. It was a test. Are you really paying attention to this registration process?
Luckily, because I wear a large, actually large shirts are not that difficult to find. They're usually, you can trade. You can, if you get the wrong shirt, if you've changed it, maybe you've lost. I mean, you have to, book these things 9 months in advance about. Maybe you've either gained weight or lost weight. Hopefully you've been training and you've lost weight during this, and you want a different size shirt, you can trade, but only if they have some of those shirts available. Luckily, they usually have men's large available.
Right.
I was able to trade easily. So I got the right shirt, and it's a really nice shirt.
Yes. Still, it was much easier process than the time that you forgot your ID and had to go back.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Go back to the resort.
Flew out, went in there, got in. It was already later in the evening. We were running out of time, and we got all the way out there, and I'm like, oh, I had put my ID in my backpack on the flight and not put it in my pocket for us to go get it. So I had to go all the way back to our resort and get it. That's what.
So that didn't happen
crazy.
this time.
It will not happen again.
Smooth.
It will not happen again because I know that happened before. One thing that did happen during this is that sitting there waiting in line for us to get pictures with some characters, which I'm going to show in a little bit. And hey, the only pair of shoes, which are my running shoes and my walking shoes, a piece of it just happened to just come off. I'm like, great. What am I going to do now? I'm supposed to run in these shoes. I mean, I could, but it is 6 miles. Do I really want to do that? Luckily enough, we were at the expo. They happened to sell shoes there.
This was not planned by you for sure. You're picking at your shoe.
No, I knew I was going to have to get some shoes soon because I knew that these were wearing out. I didn't know they were going to wear out this weekend, but I did pick up a really nice pair of shoes.
Very nice pair of shoes.
I was very happy with those shoes. It's a pair of shoes that I probably would have bought anyway, maybe for a different price, or at least I would have been able to shop around a little bit more if they weren't an immediate need. But I'm very happy with those shoes. I really like them. So I'm glad I was able to pick them up, and they were really nice for race day. So as I mentioned, we did get in line for some photos there because we had time. The lines were actually, because there wasn't as much of people going there. We were able to get some photos, and we were pretty happy with some of them. We got a photo, of course, with the light up Run Disney Mickey there with our bibs. We had one where we got to take a picture with Frozone, and he took note of Michelle's Real Men Love Frozen shirt, and we mentioned how it could also be Real Men Love Frozone. Yes, of course. And then we even got one where we were showing off our bibs, and Groot happened to come by and take a picture with us. So that was kind of cool. That was a great experience. We don't always get pictures with characters there because a lot of times the lines are long. But this really worked out well.
It was smooth and fun, and glad we got these memento pictures now.
Yeah, it really worked out well. So
that's one thing. If you've never run a Run Disney race before, when you're at the expo picking up your bib, you're going to multiple buildings. But that's a time to take to get those photos. You're not looking all worn out usually because it's not after a run. And so you get to have these great pictures ahead of time.
And sometimes they have PhotoPass photographers there. Sometimes you're just taking it with, a backdrop or whatever. So, whatever works for you. And they will use your phone and take pictures as well on some of those spots. So if you don't have PhotoPass, you can do it that way. But so what you do is you go in one building, you pick up your bib, you go to another building and you pick up your shirt. And that's where the expo is, where a lot of the vendors are, showing off wares. A lot of freebies to pick up around there, by the way. It's worth just perusing through because you get a lot of little freebies, nothing big, but a little freebies from here. It's worth it. And then you go over, if you just so desire, to the Run Disney merchandise area. And that's where we picked up. We usually like to pick up pins specific for each race that we run in. And we did that as well for this one.
Yeah. They usually have multiple ones, but they also have a lot of great things like, jersey spirit shirts and ears and things related to the race weekend theming. So it's fun. They had coffee cups this time that were really nice looking. I don't remember those in the past. So
they have the merchandise for each specific race. They have merchandise usually for the full race weekend, and then they have some like regular generic I say, but it's Run Disney stuff. And you can find some amazing merchandise there. But again, we look all through a lot of this merchandise. But a lot of times we just get the pins.
Pin.
That's
Mhm.
usually kind of our thing. That's our memento, along with everything else we get from
Right.
the race day, the shirt, the medal, everything else. That's kind of our thing. And they also sell some shirts like I did it, like especially if you had something you feel really accomplished
Right.
doing it, you can go and pick up my I did it shirt or whatever it
Exactly.
might be, and that's kind of cool. I know Michelle has one for doing the half marathon.
Right. Yes.
Back when we did the Star Wars
Star
half
Wars.
marathon back in, was that 2018? I want to say.
18, yeah, 17 or 18. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Mhm.
So so check that all out. We got done with that, and it was well after 2:00, and we were getting hungry, so we went in, parked over at our resort, which was Bay Lake Towers that I've already mentioned, and then we hopped on the monorail and we went to our favorite spot. We went to the Poly to get by the Oasis pool, where we could get a couple of nice cocktails. It was 90 plus out there.
Yeah. It was.
But nice in the shade there. We got these cocktails. We got what it's called the Voyager, which it's like a pina colada, only it's got Midori in it, or no, it's blue curacao in it. Excuse me, blue curacao, and a little bit of rum and Dole Whip, which
Yes.
makes it very refreshing and wonderful and nice on a day. And then we got our favorite fish tacos,
Yes.
which were really great because they have these really nice grilled fish tacos. This is at the Oasis grill,
Right.
which is by the Oasis pool, kind of the other pool on the main
Kind of like what would be, I
Poly
guess,
resort.
technically, I guess they're quiet pool. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is. It's usually the quieter. It's definitely the quieter of the two pools. And sometimes it can be a little rambunctious, but of the two pools,
Right.
definitely the quieter of the pools. But it's our favorite pool. And this spot is something we hit up regularly, especially on a warm day. It's perfect for that. The fish tacos are excellent. We had a great server who, he asked if we wanted fries or if we wanted slaw. And I said fries. Michelle was like, no, do I want fries? Do I want slaw? And I'm like, well, you can have some of my fries. Go ahead and get the slaw. He came out with fries and slaw for both of us, knowing that we were going to split them both. So that way he really appreciated
Shout
it.
out
Gave him a cast
to Timmy. Yes.
Yeah, gave him a cast compliment. Really appreciated it.
Right. Definitely.
But one of our favorite spots, and it was just good to get some food, sit out in a wonderful area and have a nice cocktail and enjoy.
In the shade.
In the shade. Definitely in the shade, because it was the first time that we'd hit 90s this year out in Orlando, and it just happened to run on race weekend. So luckily it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a little warmer than we would have liked for the mornings, for race mornings, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it.
Right.
We've
had
worse. Yeah, like including that Run Disney half marathon, where it was more humid than what it was for this. It was a little warmer, but it didn't feel as bad because it was a little drier, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so did that, walked around a little bit, hopped back on the monorail. Our resort room was ready, went and checked into the resort. We got our room number and we're like, oh, it's on the 7th floor. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I think we thought it was on 6.
Maybe it was 6th or 7th floor.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, that's right. It probably would have been the 6th floor. We thought it was. As it turns out, we get there and we are on the 16th floor, which, if you know Bay Lake Towers, is the very top floor, the same floor where Top of the World Lounge is on, by the way.
Yes.
We didn't realize that we got there. We actually had to scan in because during most of the day, the elevator doesn't go up there unless you actually have a room up there. You cannot go up to that level. So we were pretty darn excited about that. Knowing that we were going to have a room on a level that we've never stayed. We stayed high. We stayed up like the 14th floor, I think.
Yeah,
we stayed up there, but never the top floor.
Right. And so we hadn't reserved a theme park view. We did do a preferred, which now is typically a lake view. So there's different sides of the building that face the lake in some way. But when we did the pre-check-in, you can do that in advance. I think what I had picked was first selection was near the what do you call that? A gateway to the Skyway Bridge.
It is, yeah.
And then the other one I put as the second one is higher floor.
The bridge that connects the Contemporary to Bay Lake Tower.
Right. So what they gave us was a higher floor, but right below where the gate, that Skyway Bridge is. So It was super convenient and
Yeah.
amazingly fun to have
Yeah.
such a high room.
We had a view of the inside area, as Michelle was mentioning, kind of looking over the grounds and the Bay Lake Tower pool there. But we did have a lake view as well,
Right.
especially since we were so high up. We could really see
Yes.
the lake really well. It was really nice. Really nice. And also, the rooms are limited there right now because they are still refurbishing a lot of the rooms. We were able to see some of the areas where they were refurbishing. They were doing a lot of them. Luckily, our room already refurbished.
Right.
So we got to experience that for the first time. Michelle, what was your first impression walking into a newly refurbished Bay Lake Tower room?
It was really great. It was amazing. I was worried some of the things we really love about it were going to be renovated out. That wasn't the case. I think they kept the majority of the elements of it. They added a little seating area that used to be, I think, a little table and chairs. But other than that, everything that we love about Bay Lake, especially the studios, where you do have like not just the wet bar, but it's like a little separate nook.
Yeah.
And it has tons of cabinet space there and a little extra workstation that you can have the coffee maker there, so it's not cluttering the whole area of the sink in the wet bar area. So I was really happy they kept that. It was beautiful. It kept the theming. It was different look, but theming that was there for appropriate for Bay Lake Tower, and I just thought it was great.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the layout is virtually identical to what if you've been to Bay Lake Towers, if you stayed there in the past. The deluxe studio, we didn't stay, it wasn't a one bedroom, it was the deluxe studio that we stayed in. Yeah, the seating area there, I think you're right. I think it replaced kind of where they had a table and chairs, which we kind of like the table and chairs being there. A lot of times we will eat some meals in the room. So that's unfortunate that that's gone, but the layout is still great. It's the usual refurbs that you've seen when they've taken these rooms. They've taken out the pull-out bed and replaced it with the Murphy bed / couch combo, which really, really works well. They've added, I think, a longer countertop, moved the television up. But the thing that we really enjoyed, at least I really enjoyed a lot, was the artwork that they've added. They've added some fantastic artwork around. I'm going to show a little bit for those of you who are on the YouTube. And also some of it's on our social media. These amazing Mary Blair inspired. They're not Mary Blair. They're kind of, I would say they're kind of inspired by, there's some other things, and like there's a backdrop behind the TV, definitely very Mary Blair.
Right.
These were inspired. These were actually, I was able to find this because I posted these pictures, I think it was on Threads, and somebody actually reposted it to the artist. So I was able to find out who the artist is. The artist's name is Joey Chu. He's the one who created these amazing pieces of art that just fit in it. They're all Magic Kingdom. They're all contemporary Bay Lake. Just beautiful, beautiful pieces of art that you can find throughout your room.
Yes, I mean, these are colorful and stunning, but like you said, behind the TV, the like wallpaper look is very subtle but beautiful and definite theming related to this time frame, and it really pulled it all together nicely.
Yeah. And then in the nook that you were talking about, the little kitchenette nook, they have some older pictures in there. And what I think we particularly like, photographs. What we particularly like is they were focused on who, Michelle?
Roy.
Yes, they were focused on Roy Disney, who, if you know Walt Disney World, yes, of course it was Walt's main plan, but Walt passed away long before, several years before it was able to come to fruition, and Roy took over. So it was so nice to see Roy represented in this room. I think.
Yeah, it was perfect and beautiful and touching. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, but basically all the touches that they had made, again, it was what we love about Bay Lake Tower, but just refreshed with some nice new artwork, some wonderful new areas. The televisions, I will say that not everything is perfect there. We already talked about we missed the table. Some people won't care. Right. We care that they're missing the table. The television, though, was a little bit of an issue. First of all, they didn't change it over yet. I don't know if they're going to, but the television to the one there, most of the resorts where you got the chance to stream to it, there's better options, cast to it, excuse me, and go and get to Disney Plus off of it as well. It's not there. It's more the regular old school TV where they have the scrolling guide and everything. It's a little trickier, to maneuver through. I was a little surprised that they didn't change over since everybody else had changed that over. The other issue with the television is like we got there and we couldn't, it wouldn't go on. We're like, why won't this television turn on? So we called the front desk. They're like, oh, it sounds like you need new batteries in your remote. Okay, well, yeah, that happens. Sure. Somebody came up with batteries. We changed the batteries. It still would not turn on. So we called down again. They brought maintenance up. And somebody got like, oh, yeah, I see what this is. He went over and turned on a light switch. And that was what turned, I guess, apparently, and he knew that this is right. Something that is an issue, that when they redid this, the wiring or whatever, they also wired the television outlet to the same outlet as where a light is
on the corner by the sliding glass door.
So the issue is if you like to go to sleep with the television on, you're probably also going to sleep with a light on in the room. So, we were able to figure out a workaround to that in that there's a plug. They do have more outlets now available, including more USB options for you, which were missing it from Bay Lake before. Mm-hmm. Now there's a lot of more USB options. There's a plug on the countertop there, and the cord from the television I was able to plug out of the back wall and plug into that. So that was we were able to turn that light off and had the television on for just a little bit while we went to bed.
Right.
If one of us was staying up later or whatever while the other one went to sleep. So we were able to work around that. But that is something that I really think they need to figure out. And I think the maintenance guy, we're taking notes on this. We know this is going on. We do need to update that.
Yeah. One of the things they said was as they're, being contacted for different, for various things on these newly renovated rooms, they are sharing that back to the people who need to, look at these issues. And so I'm sure there were other things that we didn't have any experience with that might have been an issue or matter. But
by the way, if Scott was with us, it wouldn't have been a problem because he wants every light on in the room anyway at night. I bring a blindfold when we're sleeping with Scott in the same room because I know I'm going to have to wear it. That wouldn't have been an issue. But for this, we wanted the lights off. So again, I discovered that workaround. It worked for us, but hopefully Bay Lake Towers, hopefully Disney gets it figured out. So that's not an issue anymore. But that was it. Yeah. Everything else we love.
Right.
It's still our favorite resort, and even more so now that they're refreshed.
Exactly. I mean, I know it's a little thing, but we like the fact that now that as they're renovating the different rooms, they are putting in the combo coffee makers that will make either a pot of coffee or the
single cups,
Keurig style cups of coffee or tea. So I like that they have that option now to have.
Because sometimes you just want a cup, sometimes you want multiple cups and maybe a full pot.
Right.
The option that they have, and they have both types of coffee in there, so you can do both. It's not like you have to pick or choose.
Right. I was going to say sometimes I like decaf, and so it's nice to not have to brew two different pots of coffee.
Yeah, or even if I, in the evening, I just want a cup of decaf. Mm-hmm. You don't have to brew a whole pot of decaf. It's just a cup, and that's nice. Yeah, so I'm glad that that is becoming a regular thing as they're refreshing a lot of these resorts now. Yeah, very cool. Mm-hmm. So we went and got some dinner from Contempo Cafe. We played some games around the grounds.
Yeah, we played pool.
We played some pool. We played. There's a little putting green there. We did a little putting. We had some good times out there. And then we just had some dinner. And then knowing we had to get up super early, we went to bed pretty early. At least tried to. I think I had more success than you, as usual for these race day weekends. But got up very early, like 2:15 in the morning, to get ready for our Run Disney race.
Now, one thing I may have said this before. I know I've said it to you, honey, several times. For people who have never done the Run Disney race, one thing that really helped me finally was to just be able to tell myself I can do this race with little to no sleep, because that used to be what was such an issue for me. Like trying to go to sleep thinking, oh my God, I'm not getting enough sleep for this race. Or
that you were going to oversleep and not.
Right. Yes. And so once I came to the conclusion that even with, I think one time we had to do it and I had 1 hour sleep and it was fine, yes, and tired, and I knew I could take a nap later if I wanted to or whatever. But I think psychologically, if you're having an issue with that, getting up early in the morning, just know that, you know what, doesn't matter. You're still going to have a good time on the race. You can still do it with little to no sleep.
Yep. And hopefully, if you're staying another night, you'll have a chance to go back, take a nap. Even if you're not, you can go to the pool,
Right.
find a shady spot, doze off for a little bit there, get your rest. But the energy that comes from Run Disney, I think carries you through that, even
Yes.
though the grogginess, the exhaustedness of getting up at a ridiculous hour in the morning.
Right.
Even for me, that's a ridiculous hour in the morning to be getting up. And I get up really early. That's ridiculous. But it's so much fun to do it. So we got in our gear and we had a little coffee, a little something to eat, to make sure we had some nourishment before we went out, and hopped in the car and went out to race day. Hopped in the car because we've had poor experiences with Disney transportation for Run Disney. We've had good experiences. I
Right.
shouldn't say it's
Yes.
always bad.
It's not as convenient as maybe
But
we want.
We've had some other times where we've been like having to wait for people. We barely made it to, to the race weekend as early as we'd like to get photos or do some other things that just making it heading to our corral and going.
Right.
We decided that more often than not, it's better to go ahead and drive, get there when we want to get there, and then and park and go in. And that's what we did this time.
Yeah. I mean, the other benefit of if you are driving in, whether you're driving from one of the resorts or coming in from someplace else, is because you want to get there really early, since they close some roads off and access there. If it's a really cold morning, you can sit in your car for a little bit of time before you have to go stand out in the cold for a long time. Which if you're taking the Disney transportation, you don't have that. You're dropped off and you're out in the elements.
There you go. Yeah. And yes, do pay attention to those road closures if you are planning on driving yourself, because one road that you think you're going to take, one pathway you think you're going to take may be closed by the time you head out, and you have to find different pathways. They're plentiful. You can find them, but you just need to know where to go, and maybe have a backup option.
Yeah, and factor in that timing for having that ability to turn around.
Got there early enough, which was great. We were able to meet our friend Pat from the Conversations podcast and get out, and we were just barely early enough, get in line to get an amazing picture with Hercules. I mean, literally, we are like, we're cutting it off in 4 minutes. We're like, how many people are ahead of us? We're going to get there.
I know.
It was like really, really close. Maybe the last few people were just like running up, getting a picture and running out, So
that's what we did.
Yeah. And then you see the picture here. If you're watching the YouTube, if you can find it on social media, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, it actually ended up being a great picture, but you wouldn't know it to see us, that we had sprinted in there, got the picture with Herc, and then sprinted off to go to our corral.
Yeah, no chit chatting. We just get in and get out.
Yeah,
so I do want to point out, if you're looking at this image, and Pat's picture is amazing, especially with the belly that he created. That was a fanny pack, or it was.
He's Phil from Hercules, essentially. I'm Zeus. Michelle is Hades, and we're with Herc here. And the best thing about this picture is Pat has a measuring tape measuring Herc's bicep as he goes.
Right.
Go find this picture. It's on our social media. If you don't see it on the YouTube, hopefully you'll watch it on YouTube. But if not, yes, the fanny pack that is his belly as Phil. Everything about his
genius,
cosplay is fantastic. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Please find it and check it out. But that was great. Headed off to our corral. And as always, when you do head off to your corral, you hurry up and wait.
Yes.
Do some stretching, take some time. Luckily, we had Pat with us. We were able to catch up with him for a long extended period of time as we're in the corral, then moving towards the starting line. But the excitement always builds, and it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. Like you're saying, the energy is really positive and fun. And, as you're waiting, they're showing things on, screens above where you're seeing either they're interviewing some people in line, or they're showing some of the charities that benefit from the Run Disney races and things. So it's really pretty exciting.
Yeah, this one was to benefit Make-A-Wish Foundation. So we got to see a lot of stuff on the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is cool. Always big fans of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So very happy to do that. But yeah, all good. And as you're going, yes, it takes some time to get there. We were in Corral D, so several corrals ahead of us. Many times we hear the countdown and start, but it always builds the excitement as you get closer and going through that so many times. And then you finally get there and you run. And Pat, that was when Pat was done with us.
Yeah.
Pat was like, I've had enough of you. I am running as fast as I can to get away from you all. No, Pat was in better shape than we are right now. As I mentioned earlier, we were still trying to work up after being ill for a while back into our regular run shape. So We didn't let him. He just took off.
We had already, it was already part of
It
the
was
plan.
fine.
We knew it.
It
We
was
said,
fine.
look, don't wait for
Yeah.
us. Just go.
We told him right off the bat, we're like, we're not going to be in the running the speed you are. Don't even think about us, which I don't think he would have anyway. But anyway, he's like, plus I think he'd been up for like 36. I think he told us he'd had like worked an overnight shift, and then he had gone to a concert. Basically, he hadn't slept in like 36 hours. So he told us, like, I'm going to finish this race as quickly as I can so I can try and get some sleep. So yes, go. And that's what he did. But we went out and we took our time and we enjoyed it, and we just had a great race day, and it was phenomenal. We ran more than we did the last time, but I wouldn't even say we ran half of it, maybe 45% of it we ran. We walked a lot of it, but just kind of enjoyed it all, took it all in, had a blast, had some amazing pictures. For those of you who see it on YouTube, you can see our cosplay there. You can find that on social media. I posted it everywhere, but yeah, it was fun. Michelle makes an amazing little tiny Zeus, and me and my lightning bolt as excuse me, she's Hades. I'm Zeus.
Right.
Don't mind me. As I mentioned earlier, things get pushed out of my brain, and I don't forget her. I don't remember everything. She's Hades. I'm Zeus with my lightning bolt, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. First of all, it was, the excitement, like I said, with the getting things ready. You really helped me design the lightning bolt, and we got that going. And then I didn't think I had the hairstyle or wanted to paint my hair blue and instead try to push it up like that. So just having that. So I think that was a lot of fun, as well as making our little pins, which your pin was actually, we did an overlay of glitter paper on one of the I'm celebrating pins.
Yeah. So a freebie that we had, and then we just added some things to embellish it into the Zeus logo.
Right. I think this was one of our only Run Disney races that we actually were able to get in a line to get a picture with a character, because typically those lines are very long, and we happened to get on one of them that it wasn't as long as usual, because I don't know why, but anyways, it was with Maribel, and that was really fun.
Yeah, and one, we've never gotten a picture with Maribel before,
right?
Which was really nice. Two, yeah, there's almost all the lines, and all the lines for this one were fairly long as well, some longer than others. But this was the very first photo opportunity. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's only like 7 people in line. Maybe it was 10. I don't know, but it wasn't a lot. And I'm like, this may be our only chance to get a photo. And it's Maribel, who's one of my favorites.
Right.
I'm like, well, let's go ahead and jump on this.
Right.
So we did. We didn't get any photos with any other characters within the race after that. Although we did see a lot of unique characters when we were on the course. Pain and Panic were out there. One of the biggest lines was for Pain and Panic. Because how many times can you find Pain and Panic? It is the Hercules 10K. Totally makes sense. Meg was out there. Long line for Meg. The super long line was for Hades. Hades had a really, really long line. I don't know if Pain and Panic was longer or Hades was longer.
Yeah.
But, but there are lots of other great characters throughout it. It was just a fantastic race. One thing I loved about it, and I think we mentioned it when we talked about our Princess 10K, the course that they ran, it was where it was the first 3 miles pretty much backstage and out on the roads around Epcot. And then you finish when you really are running low on energy and you really want to be in the parks. That's when you finish. So the last 3 miles are in the parks,
second half
around the boardwalk, and mostly on stage where it's just gorgeous and beautiful.
Right.
And it really helps bring you through to finish, this long race.
Right. And I know we've said it in the past, but like when you're going through Epcot, first of all, everything is lit up. They have the things with the flames going, and they also have the cast members from the various World Showcase countries represented coming out there, usually holding their country flag. It's just really touching.
Yeah. From every pavilion, they had a representative out there cheering us on.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because you go by, you go by all the countries.
Yeah.
You go through them all.
Yeah.
And so it's really fun to see them and be out there supporting, as all the cast members do, which is part of this that makes amazing.
And volunteers.
As well as, yes, the volunteers, the cast members that are there getting the park ready for the day. And then, of course, all the other guests that are just there to watch, and whether they're cheering on somebody in particular or they're just cheering on everybody. So much energy comes from these races.
Right. And if you ever wanted, attend as somebody to cheer on, they do have places that you can go. The park isn't open yet, but they have like around the boardwalk area, and by the finish line, and Disney Transportation will help you with that.
Yeah, completely. And we also went by the On Beach Club. So if you're out there, anybody anywhere in that area for sure. But even if you're not staying there, you can get to the finish line area and just support on see it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, and all the cosplay, even if you're not no one in it, but you happen to be up early enough just to see people in what they're wearing and the outfits they wear, because some of them are amazing. Ours were, look, we're proud of ours.
Yeah,
but there were some amazing outfits that are out there for sure.
Yes.
Like Pat's.
Like Pat's, right, exactly. But I mean, and for the half marathons or full marathons, the parks are open during part of those runs as well. So you could actually see runners in the parks for those races, just not the 5 or 10K.
But it was a great race. Like I said, everything went really smoothly. Weather was actually fairly nice. It was a little warmer than we'd like, but it was still pretty nice. They did give us more water stations, I felt like, or they were plentiful.
And the cooling cloths at the end.
The cooling cloths at the end, yes, of course. We got our Powerade. I think the Powerade bottles were larger this time, it seemed like to me, knowing you might need them. Plus water, the usual snack box. The medal is fantastic. It's one of my favorite medals. I mean, I say that all the time because they're all amazing, but it was, it's two-sided, just an amazing medal. It was just a great race. And at the end, we got pictures with another character, and because it was pretty incredible. And we got a picture with Mr. Incredible. Now, he wasn't our race. It was the Incredibles are more the theme for the 10-miler, but he was out there taking pictures, as was Groot for a while. His line was too long for us. Herc, we'd already had a picture with, so luckily that taking care of that. But we did get the line wasn't that bad for Mr. Incredible after the race was over, and we got a fun picture with him. Yeah,
we definitely on this run had more photo opportunities than what we've had in the past. So it timed out well. Yeah, really fun, great race. Anything else you want to say about the race, but in general, by any chance? No, just to remind people, you don't have to be in great shape. You don't have, I mean, yes, it's recommended that you do, prepare for it. But again, you don't have to be a runner to be in like the 5 or 10K. Completely. We walked really a lot of the last one, the Princess. We walked at least 3/4 of it. I'm going to say. Yeah. We walked. This one we walked a little over half, I'd say. Brisk walk, but we did walk a lot of it. But there's people that were behind us that were still stopping for pictures. You have time. Right. I mean, keep an eye on where you are, keep an eye on your pacing, but you have time. You can do it. Even if, the 5K, even more so, you have more time to do the 5K, but if you want to do the 10K, it's not bad. For sure. You can do it. So definitely take advantage of that. Do a Run Disney race. We're getting ready to book the next batch of races here at the end of April. We're looking for Disneyland coming up here soon. So we'll be hopefully booking that. But energy, undefeated. Right. Run Disney has the amazing energy every time. So got done with that, walked around, checked a few things out, hopped back in our car, headed back to our resort, showered, refreshed, had another cup of coffee because it's still early in the morning. And then it was time to head out to Magic Kingdom for a little bit, because it's just another walk from the Bay Lake Towers to Magic Kingdom. It's one of the most convenient resorts to get to Magic Kingdom. And we didn't do a lot out there. We didn't do a lot of attractions, but we did, of course, ride the People Mover because you got to when you're at Magic Kingdom, or at least we have to. Right. For sure. And we went and saw the newly refreshed Country Bears Jamboree, which is the first time that we've seen it together. Yes. We've seen it separately. I think you've seen it with your sister. This was the first time we had the chance to see it together, and it still is such an amazing refresh of that attraction. Yeah, I love that there's still energy in the audience where people are applauding these animatronics who perform, because it is just really fun, and you feel like, oh yeah, I got to cheer them on. But it was a warm day, but we just kind of walked around and checked some things out. And then it was time for our lunch.
We went and had a wonderful lunch out at Skipper Canteen, which is one of our favorite dining establishments in any theme park. Definitely our favorite in Magic Kingdom for sure. If we get any chance to go to Skipper Canteen for the Jungle Cruise, stick, along with amazing food and drink and just a fun atmosphere, that's the place to go for us.
Right.
For us.
Yes. And it's one of the more bolder menus. It's not over the top. It's not like super hot or spicy or anything, but it is more levels of flavoring than what you would normally see in the park. So that's I think one of the reasons why we really like it.
They do have one of the more interesting menus, but they also have things that are very approachable for maybe more of your picky eaters, including your kids.
Definitely
as
have
well.
More standard kids fare.
But they have wonderful cocktails, a really nice wine list, and it was good food. And we were joined by Pat and his wife Kelly and their daughter Emily, and we sat and we just had a really, really nice, maybe a little loud for everybody around us, but really, really nice lunch where we enjoyed some good food, laughed a lot, had a good time. It was just really fun.
Yes. And as a reminder, some people, they actually have 3 separate areas where they are providing the food. So they have like 3 different rooms, and the 2 of them are more intimate and smaller.
Right. Which we always recommend you pick if you get the opportunity. If you can ask for them, you may have to wait a little bit longer, but those are the rooms we enjoy more, but they're all great. It's a great restaurant, no matter what room you get in. Really enjoyed it, but just had a great lunch. Sat down. I mean, we were there for what, an hour and a half?
Oh, at least.
Yeah. Which is a long lunch, but it was just so enjoyable. Our conversation, took some pictures and just had a good time. And then they went their way and we went ours to kind of peruse through the park a little bit more, did a few extra things. Didn't do a lot, and then it started to get hot. And we started to get tired. So we decided as we got hot, maybe we'll go ahead and head back to the room. However, on the way back to the room, our path was cut off, but it was hot, but it's okay because, hey, we got to see a little bit of the Festival of Fantasy parade go by, including, as you can see in the photo here, if you're watching on YouTube, the Maleficent dragon that came by. And that was kind of nice, even though I think we were ready to go.
Right.
Still kind of nice that if something's going to be on our way, it's a pretty good thing to be on our way.
Right, exactly. And we weren't there to watch, to see the entire parade. It was just kind of the tail end of it. But yeah, I mean, in some ways it was unique to do that because we don't usually watch the daytime parades.
No, so. I mean, we do occasionally, but it's not a regular thing for us.
Right.
So, it's a treat when we do get the opportunity for whatever reason, when we get to see them. So that was a lot of fun. Got there, walked back to our resort, and that was it for me. I needed a nap. I needed a nap big time. We crashed out. I think you got a little sleep. I think I got a little more than you.
Yeah.
Because it had been a long day. We'd done a lot of steps at that point.
Yes.
But we weren't done yet because we were staying, as we mentioned, at Bay Lake Towers, and we were on the same floor as the Top of the World Lounge.
Yeah, we're about 3 doors away.
Right. So we just went down the hall a little bit, and yes, we did go to the Top of the World Lounge, Villain's Lair, enjoyed a couple cocktails, a flatbread, a charcuterie board, and just soaked it all in and enjoyed the evening there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Typically when we go there, we are drinking wine. So I think it was fun this time to, experiment with some of their cocktails. So that was definitely enjoyable. I mean, they do have a full bar there, but we did get some of their signature cocktails. And it's just really it doesn't shout villains. I know we've said that before, but it is really a cool area to go to, and got to speak with several of the cast members there. One person who had joined the cast through the college program, and another, our server had been there for a while, and then there was one other cast member that we got to really talk to. So it made it really nice because we learned a little bit more here and there.
And just enjoyed the evening. We got a little food in us.
Yep.
Some really yummy cocktails, and just took it all in. It's one of our favorite spots.
Yeah, their flatbread there
is really good.
It was the
best. Cosmic something or other
power.
Cosmic power. Thank you. Yes, the Cosmic Power flatbread, which is a veggie flatbread.
It's actually plant-based.
Yeah, plant-based. Yes, plant-based flatbread does have plant-based meat on
Right.
it, you know. It's really good. And even one of the hosts that was there, he's like, people go for the margarita flatbread. He's like, no, you got to go for this one. It's way better.
Yes.
And I like the margarita one fine, but it's pizza.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can get those anywhere. This is something unique and different and interesting, and I enjoy it. The charcuterie board is always a hit. Just had a good time and just an enjoyable meal there. And then we could have those cocktails because we just had to go a few rooms down the hall to get to our room. It wasn't like we had to get up and go anywhere, drive anywhere, take any transportation or anything.
Yeah, 3 doors down.
Yep, just down the hall. So I went back to our room. We decided, you know what, let's go ahead and play some more of the games around there. So we went down, played pool again, played a little cornhole out there while we were waiting for somebody to vacate the pool table. And again, just enjoy the grounds of Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah. I mean, the vacation club villas do offer those at all of them, where they have some type of outdoor activities like giant Connect Fours and cornhole, things like that. And we don't always stop and take the opportunity to enjoy those. So it was kind of fun, even for a shorter stay, that we did get to do that.
Yeah, we were terrible at pool.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've shot pool. It was not very good.
Hilarious.
But luckily no one was waiting on us to get finished. But yeah, it was still fun and still had a good time.
Yes.
We went back to our room. I think we poured a little wine, had a little snacks, and we're like, you know what? It's fireworks time. Luckily, again, we can go right down back the hall. And the fact that we're staying there and we went to Villain's Lair, we were able to go sit in that area outside, or stand out on the area outside of Top of the World Lounge and watch the Magic King of Fireworks Happily Ever After, which still gets me every single time, no matter where I view it from, whether it's in the park, whether it's nearby, whether we're at the Poly, whether we're at Grand Floridian, whether we're at Bay Lake Tower, whatever. It doesn't matter where I see it from. It'll get me every single time.
Yeah, especially that Tinkerbell moment.
Yeah, always. When Tinkerbell flies, forget it.
Yep.
Forget it. It's all over for me. But it's a great view up there. So, and it's a perk of, if you've gone and visited Villain's Lair, if you're a DVC member, even, you can go up to the top of that area and check it out.
Check it out. Right. Yeah. They do have at Villain's Lair some I don't know if you want to call it ticketed, but you can pay for different days. They have different events.
It's like a dining package.
So one is like, a dining package that you get like an appetizer, an entree, and the dessert, as well as a cocktail for a fixed price. And then they also have, I think, a dessert buffet on some other nights. So that's another way.
And then you get a reserved area out there to watch. And this is all taking place at that same time.
Right. And that has more of a, like you said, reserved, and it all has seating that you could do as well. So
so we watched the fireworks and went right back down the hall to our room, kind of settled in for the evening, just enjoyed some more snacks, little glasses of wine, sat out on the balcony for a little bit. We just
finished our glass of wine. We weren't drinking like tons of glass. We had one glass of wine.
I was. Because I did a lot that day.
Cocktail and a glass of wine.
I think we were sitting down. I think you were sitting at over 35,000 steps for the day, and I was sitting at around 32,000 or something. That's the way we work. Michelle, I think, does 1.2 steps for every one I do because of her little legs. But we were like done. That was it. We don't need to go do anything else. Yeah, and it had been hot. We didn't need to do anything else, so we settled in, went to bed. Had a good meeting. We thought about going and doing more the next day, but you know what? We were pretty sore after that day. And one of the benefits of being an annual pass holder who lives locally is, you know what? We can go home and take it all back in, and we know we're going to get to go to Walt Disney World. We are definitely spoiled in that regard.
Well, especially since we knew we have reservations for several days stay coming up in a few weeks. So it wasn't as hard.
We decided, it was going to be the hottest day of all. We were sore, a little worn out still, even though we slept pretty well that night. Maybe we'll just go ahead and head on home and enjoy the rest of our weekend at home. But that didn't make it any less of an amazing Run Disney Springtime Surprise Race weekend.
Yeah, it was really great. And it's always fun, right? When you go to Disney and you get to try things you haven't done, or things you haven't done in a while, or they've made some changes and you get to experience something. And I think that's what we were able to appreciate and enjoy for this weekend.
Yeah, it was a short trip, but it was a packed trip. We did a lot of stuff, saw friends. Got that amazing energy.
Packed. I thought you said a pat week.
It was a pat week. It was a packed pat week. But we just had a great time, enjoyed ourselves, did some stuff that we hadn't done in a while, enjoyed some stuff that we enjoyed a lot, got to experience some new things. And of course, that Run Disney energy, again, undefeated every single time. There's a reason. I say it all the time. People think they're crazy. And even people who do Run Disney will mention how crazy it is that they get up so early in the morning and they spend all this money and do all this stuff and do these lengthy races, sometimes many races over a weekend. But there's a reason why people keep coming back and doing it over and over and over again. It's because that energy is just, it's at a level that you just can't understand until you've tried it. That's why I always say, if you haven't, please try it. You may hate it. It may not be your thing. You may never do it again, but you'll never know till you try.
Right.
And I think that many of you will feel it and go, oh, I get it now. I understand why people do this.
Yeah, it's definitely different than any of your community runs. And not to say don't go for those. We like some of those, especially when they have theming and stuff like that. But this is that on steroids for sure.
So, great weekend. Had a lot of fun. Anything else before we get out of here, Michelle?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So that's it. Man, what a good time. Can't wait till the next Run Disney race week. And I think it's going to be a bit yet. I don't think we're not doing Wine and Dine. We're not doing Walt Disney World. We're probably, knock on wood, we're going to try anyway, do Disneyland race weekend, which we're excited about. And I think, knock on wood, that we get a spot. We're doing Princess next year. So those are next on our plans. But either way, no matter what, can't wait to do another Run Disney race weekend.
Yeah, same.
And that is our 2025 Run Disney Springtime Surprise Recap.